When it comes to cutting plastics, thermal plastics as opposed to thermosetting, the big enemy is heat. And I'm not sure what's the correct procedure, but I personally use fast feeds and fine feeds. The idea being to get the heat away as fast as you can. I've never found a fluid that will cut away heat, such as in machining metal. A blast of cold air is pretty good, but fine feeds is the answer. Get the heat away as fast as possible. So I'll cut a section off on the bandsaw here. This is quite a fine blade. I'll set it quite high, and it's relatively easy to cut. Like so. But what you've got to watch is if the blade generates a lot of heat, as you cut through it'll simply fuse together the other side of the cut, and this applies to all forms of machining. So, this sort of comes with experience. But there's an awful lot of plastics and different types. It's a very, very big subject. Far too big for me to mention on this sort of little 5-minute clip. But it's a fascinating, interesting subject, and there's something, I don't know, quite appealing with the some of the plastics that I use. This is a section of, well, I think it's gas pipe, isn't it? Yellow. Gas board pipe. I've got some big sections, about 14 feet in diameter. They're handy sometimes, but I'm not going to cut one of those up. Okay, so how do we tackle these sort of things? When I'm machining plastics, I quite like to use just ground up here, a tool. It's a knife tool, so I can get it in front of the camera. That's the end shot. I achieve a slot in the tool by going down the corner of the grindstone. Yes, I know, but sometimes practical ways override what the textbooks say. And I was brought up with a hand drill and a treadle lathe, and by gosh, that's pretty much teaches you about angles and cutting and so forth. So for thermal plastics, get it in, which way am I going? Get it that way in. That sort of angle is what I personally use. It's a weak edge for steels. You can get away with alloys, aluminiums, but for general plastic use I use the knife tool. I use both ends of the tool and turn various ends into form tools on the lathe, on the shaping machine and on the milling machine. I'll give a quick little demonstration. I can only find a piece of 1/2 inch thick pipe, but I mean this tool will easily do 1.5 inch single cut, but I haven't got any available plastic at the moment. But I can highly recommend them, but you won't see that in many technical books. Now, did I mention the importance of fine feeds? This should give you a clue. There's very little heat going to travel through that. Whilst the camera may not show it up, you won't get a better finish of cut than a knife tool.